welcome to Ask Pro Life. I'm Phil. I make videos for Students for Life.
And I'm Tina, and I'm the Executive Vice President of Students for Life.
She's my boss.
Sometimes.
So last week we were talking about adoption, and we had a follow-up question similar to last week. The question goes, why haven't every single one of you adopted a child out of our foster care system who is in dire need of a safe, loving home? There are presently 415,129 foster kids in our system, with 107,918 waiting for homes. Adopting them is free. So similar question, but let's have at it.
Yeah, so again, it's a false dichotomy. You don't flip the coin, and there's only one option. If you're not all gonna do foster care, then it justifies somehow abortion. So
Right.
This is a false dilemma here that they've set up for you. Again, it's always important to remember when these things happen a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really important thing to point out to people that, well, you've created a false dilemma here, and I think that's a little bit more approachable than false dichotomy, because that's a fancy word and sometimes that confuses people. But to let people know, this isn't a mutually exclusive if-or situation. You can have both. I can be pro-life and I can adopt, and I can be pro-life and I can not adopt or foster, either way, because it doesn't change the morality of abortion.
Do we need to say anything more on that?
Yeah. So here, I just kind of, foster care is actually something that I'm very interested in. Just so you know, I'm not a foster parent, but I've been working with some pastors in the local area to work on programs for their churches. So this is something that kind of gets me excited and hits me where I'm at. So I want to talk about foster care really quick. So she cited a statistic, and I'm not sure where she got hers. I also have one that is, and we'll put it down below so that you can see this link, but it's that in the U.S. there are 397,122 children who are living without permanent families in the foster care system. And of these children, 101,666 are eligible for adoption. So I think it's pretty important to understand that, like, not all foster care kids are adoptable. Mm-hmm. The point of foster care is to get the parents reconciled into a situation where they can bring their children back home with them, restoring families.
Right.
That said, she said that foster care, if you're foster care, you can adopt for free. And so I researched that a little bit, because it's really different state by state. So we're in Virginia, where some of the rules are different than, let's say, if you're in California. So it's really important. Like, I totally recommend foster care. It's a great way to express your pro-life position and passion by caring for children who don't have a home. But anyway, I looked up the cost of adopting through foster care, and this will be down below too. But it goes through the range of adoption costs. Public agencies, which is through the foster care system, can be $0 all the way up to $2,500. So it's about as close to free as you're gonna get, even if you're paying $2,500. We know that, like, adoption. We understand adoption, especially domestically, has become more difficult, less and less of a situation that people can actually walk through, and so that's why international adoptions have been so huge and growing. But even those you're looking at even more money.
Yeah. So a quick point I wanted to make was that it sounds like the person who asked the question, it sounds like the solution, their view of the solution to the problem is more abortions. Basically make it so that there are no kids in the foster care system or anything like that. So while it's always a heartbreaking story when children have to go through the foster care system, the solution that the pro-life movement would provide and champion is to make a better system to support these children so that they can get everything that they need and have all their needs met, as opposed to killing them before they're born.
And it's also important to note, in the difference between the adoption and abortion one, is that foster care, these are children who are already born. There's, like, we're not, I assume this person who wrote this in isn't advocating we kill 4-year-olds. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that that's the case. So I totally recommend you look into foster care and what it takes. There are some things preliminary. You have to be 21 years old. You have to be in good mental, physical health. You have to have an income that can support you.
Facilities.
You have to have a bed for each child that you would foster and a bedroom for them as well. Sometimes they'll allow for same-sex kids to bunk together or sibling sets, but there is kind of some upfront stuff you have to do. And it's not for everybody. Like, not everyone's in a place in their life where they can foster or adopt. And so I think it's really important that there's a lot of cool ways you can get involved, even if you are unable yourself to foster or adopt. And remember, being pro-life doesn't morally obligate us to foster or adopt in order to approve our pro-life stance. You can be a respite worker. You can be certified so that you can go in and babysit the kids, so that parents that are foster care parents can get a break, go run their errands. You can also be a resourcer. Sometimes things happen all of a sudden. Sometimes kids are in foster care in an overnight situation. And so a foster care parent all of a sudden needs to have a crib for a baby. And maybe they weren't prepared to take in a baby, but you could help them find a crib. So there's a lot of ways to engage. And even if you know families who are going through an adoption situation too, like they need support and care. Sometimes they have other kids, maybe biological kids or other adopted kids that need to be watched while they go to court case hearings or just different things. So there's a lot of ways to get involved in this. So I don't want people to feel like just because I'm not in a situation where I could foster or adopt, that means that I can't do anything. There are things that you could do.
Yeah, like with the homeless person example, is like you can give them a sandwich. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope we answered your question. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels, follow our Twitters, like our Facebooks, do all the social media stuffs.
All of it.
All of it. And ask more questions with #AskProLife.
Yeah, please. Thanks.